You know, it's funny. When we hear the word engineering, there's this immediate, really specific image that pops into our heads.
Oh, for sure. You think of like suspension bridges or,
Yeah.
skyscrapers.
Right, exactly. Steel, glass, maybe the microscopic architecture of the silicon chips inside the phone you're probably holding right now. We think of code.
Yeah, it's the realm of the visible. Architecture, aeronautics, software design. Disciplines where, honestly, the manipulation of raw materials is entirely transparent to the user.
Yeah, and this is what we're getting into today on this deep dive. Welcome, by the way, whether you're just listening to this while prepping for a meeting or just out of sheer curiosity, we are going to fundamentally challenge that image.
Because if you're looking for the most sophisticated, cutting-edge engineering on the planet,
Yeah.
you're actually looking in the wrong direction.
Exactly. It isn't happening in some sterile Silicon Valley hardware lab. It's actually happening right inside a brightly colored bag of chips sitting in your kitchen pantry.
Which is just wild to think about.
It really is. Today's mission is to dissect a really fascinating and, frankly, kind of terrifying set of sources about the future of ultra-processed foods, or UPFs, and the corporate manipulation strategies behind them. We're looking at a system that has, well, largely abandoned traditional agriculture altogether.
Yeah, in favor of microscopic biochemical manipulation.
Yeah.
It is, and I don't use this term lightly, a silent invasion of the human plate.
A silent invasion. I like that. I mean, I hate it, but it's accurate. Let's set the stakes here for a second so everyone gets the sheer scale of this issue. Right now, globally, UPFs make up, what, 20 to 30% of the average human's daily caloric intake?
Roughly, yeah.
But if you're living in a developed country, that number skyrockets. We're talking over 50%.
Over half. Over half of the calories keeping entire populations alive are fundamentally engineered products, not naturally occurring foods.
Right, over half.
Which means we desperately need a complete paradigm shift in how we even talk about our diets.
Yeah.
We have to stop thinking of these ultra-processed items as just food.
Because they're not just ingredients of chef mixed together in a kitchen somewhere.
No, not at all. There are modern engineering marvels. They operate at this crazy intersection of advanced chemistry, behavioral psychology, and hyper-targeted digital marketing.
But the landscape is shifting, right? Like, we're getting smarter.
Absolutely. Health tracking tech is everywhere now. Wearables, smart rings, you name it. The traditional junk food playbook is rapidly losing its efficacy.
Which means this multi-trillion-dollar industry is being forced to develop like entirely new, highly insidious strategies just to keep us eating.
Exactly. They have to pivot.
Okay, let's unpack this pivot. Because if people generally know that traditional junk food is bad for their metabolic health, the industry's first line of defense has to be a psychological trick, right?
Yeah, they don't actually change the metabolic reality of the food. They change the narrative.
The packaging, not the product.
Right. In the industry, they call this health washing, and the whole thing relies on exploiting a psychological phenomenon known as the health halo.
The health halo. Okay, give me an example of how this actually works in practice.
Sure. So take a highly processed extruded biscuit. The base matrix of that biscuit is still, refined wheat flour and highly processed seed oils.
Stuff that's just going to instantly convert to glucose in your bloodstream.
Exactly. It's a metabolic liability. But the manufacturer will go in and fortify it with, say, synthetic vitamin D, maybe throw in a proprietary probiotic blend. And then, this is key, they market it in this muted, earthy toned packaging.
Oh, so it looks natural, like you're buying it at a farmer's market instead of a mega mart.
Yes. You are essentially taking a standard daily multivitamin, stuffing it inside a glazed donut, and then having the audacity to call that donut medicine.
That is, wow, that's so manipulative.
It really is. The metabolic breakdown of that sugary biscuit remains exactly the same.
Yeah.
The added synthetic vitamins do basically nothing to offset the massive glycemic load.
But they do something to the brain.
They absolutely do. They create this health halo that effectively suppresses the consumer's natural guilt. By alleviating that guilt, they get you to justify eating a product you otherwise would have flagged as literal junk food.
Okay, let me stop you there and just, play devil's advocate for a second.
Sure, go for it.
Because we've been begging for personalized health data for a decade, right? And the sources show that food packaging and marketing are now syncing directly with our smart devices.
They are, yeah.
So imagine my smartwatch detects that I'm fatigued, or it flags a potential magnesium deficiency, and instantly my phone gives me a targeted offer for a convenient, custom magnesium-supported energy bar.
Right.
Isn't that a massive win? Like, is this actually helping the consumer or just using our own biodata to validate our worst snacking habits?
It's 100% the latter.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it looks like a win on paper, which is what makes the illusion so incredibly effective. But you have to look at the actual delivery mechanism.
Okay, meaning what exactly?
You're trying to treat a complex biological vulnerability like systemic fatigue with a macronutrient bomb. They bind that tiny microscopic dose of magnesium to hyperpalatable, highly processed fats and sugars.
So you're not just getting the magnesium you need.
No. You're getting a massive insulin spike and a dopamine surge that your body fundamentally did not ask for. They are using the objective clinical authority of your own smartwatch to validate a metabolic disruptor.
Wow, so you think you're optimizing your biology, but you're actually you're trapped in a highly sophisticated sales funnel.
Exactly. You are the product at that point.
Man, that is wild. So if health washing is how they trick our logical, decision-making brains, here's where it gets really interesting. The next strategy is how they biochemically hack our physical brains.
Yes. This is where we get into what the industry is calling Bliss Point 2.0.
Right. Now, the original Bliss Point 1.0, was formulated decades ago. And that was basically just about making food taste as pleasurable as possible, right? The perfect ratio of salt, sugar, and fat.
Yeah, the classic holy trinity of junk food. But version 2.0 is an entirely different beast.
It's an evolution.
A terrifying one. Bliss Point 1.0 was about maximizing pleasure. Bliss Point 2.0 is about maximizing continuous consumption by actively overriding the human body's satiety signals.
Wait, so they're intentionally making it so you never feel full?
Precisely. They are finding the exact microscopic combination of textures and compounds that prevents your brain from ever receiving that satiated signal. We're talking about the microengineering of addiction.
And the sources mention they're using AI for this now.
Oh, heavily. They leverage AI to measure human dopamine release in real time, allowing them to engineer every single sensory detail to maximize that addiction.
I really want to dig into the physics of this because the level of detail is just staggering to me. It's not just about flavor profiles anymore. We're talking about acoustic engineering.
Yes, the sonic profile of the food. Acoustic engineers literally spend months working out the exact decibel and frequency of the crunch sound when you bite into a potato chip.
The crunch. They engineer the sound of the crunch.
Down to the hertz. Through functional MRI scanning, they found that a specific frequency, it usually hovers around 90 to 100 hertz, travels through your jawbone directly into your inner ear.
Okay, and why does that specific frequency matter so much?
Because evolutionary biology links that exact vibration to freshness. Think about early humans biting into a crisp, fresh root vegetable or an apple. It signals safety and high nutrient density.
Oh, wow. So the modern brain still rewards that specific sound frequency with a massive dopamine release.
Exactly. They are hacking an ancient hardwired survival mechanism using a deep-fried potato flake.
That is just, it's evil genius level stuff. And it goes beyond just the sound. There is the chemical engineering of the food's physical structure inside your mouth. Let's talk about the melting speed because this absolutely blew my mind.
Yeah. You're referring to vanishing caloric density.
Right.
It's a technique they use heavily in extruded snacks. You know, those really light, airy cheese puffs or vegetable straws. The matrix of the food is specifically engineered to dissolve in human saliva at a highly accelerated rate.
But why? Why does the speed of it melting in your mouth matter?
Because your gastrointestinal tract relies on mechanical stretch receptors in your stomach to tell you you're full.
Right, like if I eat a piece of chicken or a bowl of broccoli, it takes up physical space.
Exactly. It digests slowly, your stomach stretches, and your body releases hormones like leptin to tell your brain, hey, stop eating, we have enough energy.
But these snacks don't do that.
No, because with vanishing caloric density, the snack melts into a liquid slurry almost instantly. It completely fails to trigger those stretch receptors adequately relative to the amount of calories in it.
So the food literally vanishes before your digestive tracking systems can even register the physical volume.
Yes. Your stomach is accumulating massive amounts of calories, but your brain is screaming, we haven't eaten anything yet, keep going.
It's like a phantom calorie. Your evolutionary software is just being completely tricked by this modern hardware.
Exactly.
And what makes this truly terrifying is how they pair this physical addiction engineering with emotional targeting. We're talking about social media algorithms here.
Right, the digital integration.
They aren't just tracking what links you click anymore. The systems can actually detect when a user is sad or lonely based on their scrolling behavior.
Yeah, they analyze your scrolling velocity, the micro hesitations in your thumb.
Hmm.
They can pinpoint exactly when you are experiencing a dip in serotonin.
And at that exact, precise moment of psychological vulnerability, they hit you with ads for these happiness-promising, ultra-processed snacks.
It is a closed-loop system of exploitation. They identify the emotional void in real time, offer a hyper-palatable product promising a neurotransmitter rebound, and then the product itself is biochemically designed, like we just talked about, to ensure you never actually feel satisfied.
So you just keep eating. It's like a casino slot machine.
That is the perfect analogy. When you sit at a slot machine, the flashing lights, the sounds, the programmed near misses, they're meticulously calibrated to keep you pulling that lever.
Even when you're steadily losing all your money.
Exactly. The ultra-processed food industry has just digitized that exact behavioral framework. But instead of flashing lights, the slot machine is the acoustic crunch and the melting texture of a potato chip, perfectly timed to a moment of emotional weakness.
You aren't eating for sustenance at all. You are pulling a biochemical lever over and over, desperately looking for a dopamine hit.
Yep, that's exactly what it is.
Which, okay, this leads to a massive contradiction in how we talk about public health. I mean, if the food is literally engineered at a microscopic, decibel-specific level to be addictive, why does society still blame the individual for overeating?
Right.
Why is obesity still framed as a lack of willpower?
What's fascinating here is that this narrative didn't just happen by accident. It is the result of decades of highly strategic, extremely well-funded lobbying. The food industry has completely modernized the historical playbook of the tobacco industry.
The strategy of creating doubt.
Precisely. The sources reveal this deliberate, massive push to frame obesity and diabetes exclusively as a problem of inactivity.
Like, oh, you just need to exercise more.
Right, active lifestyles and personal responsibility. By relentlessly blaming the consumer, the industry successfully pushes the biochemical addictiveness of their products entirely into the background.
So they completely evade responsibility.
Completely. They privatize the blame onto you, the consumer, while socializing the massive healthcare costs.
But wait, what about the law? Governments are trying to regulate this, right? How do they dodge things like sugar taxes?
Oh, this is where the chemistry gets really dark. Through the invention of next-generation synthetic carbohydrates.
Okay, explain that to me. Because how do you make something that is effectively sugar, but legally doesn't count as sugar?
It comes down to manipulating molecular bonds. Regulatory bodies define added sugar based on very specific molecular structures, like those found in sucrose or high-fructose corn syrup.
Right.
So food engineers go into the lab and they alter the glycosidic linkages in starch molecules.
Right.
They create these highly complex polymers.
And because they change the shape of the molecule?
In a regulatory laboratory, these novel compounds do not meet the legal definition of simple sugars.
Unbelievable. So they can literally print 0 grams of added sugar on the front of the box.
Exactly. They dodge the tax and they bypass the consumer checking the label.
But what happens when you actually eat it? Does your body know the difference?
Not at all. Biological reality doesn't care about regulatory loopholes. When you consume these synthetic carbs, the enzymes in your saliva and gut rapidly cleave those modified bonds.
Meaning it turns right back into sugar.
Instantly. Your blood glucose spikes and your pancreas releases the exact same massive wave of insulin as it would if you just ate table sugar. They dodge the law, but the physiological damage, the insulin resistance, is identical.
Wow. It's an endless regulatory shell game. But, while the food giants can lobby politicians and trick nutrition labels, they are about to face an enemy that they can't easily buy off.
Yes, the hyper-connected smart home.
Right. The battleground is literally shifting to our bathrooms. The sources mention these near-future smart toilets and smart mirrors.
It sounds like sci-fi, but it's happening.
Yeah.
We're talking about everyday appliances generating instant, real-time reports on our biological health.
Right, like optical sensors scanning your skin for inflammation, or a smart toilet analyzing your waste to tell you your exact gut microbiome diversity and blood sugar stability.
And that objective data is a massive threat to the UPF industry.
Because it pierces the illusion.
Exactly. You cannot use Healthwashing to convince someone a vitamin-fortified donut is good for them if their smart toilet immediately pings their phone, showing a massive spike in metabolic stress.
So how do the food giants fight back? They can't lobby a toilet.
No, but they can infiltrate the data ecosystem. It's essentially corporate counterespionage. They are actively planning to collaborate directly with the tech companies making these smart devices
To do what? Just buy the data.
to either quietly interfere with the health reporting processes or, worse, mask their products under the guise of harm reduction so they seamlessly integrate into these smart systems.
Okay, wait, let me picture this. What happens when the smart toilet telling you to eat healthier is literally sponsored by the very company making the ultra-processed food?
Then you have a Trojan horse inside your bathroom.
Yes.
Imagine your toilet detects a drop in good gut bacteria. The algorithm flags it and says, hey, you need this specific gut-soothing prebiotic oat puff, and instantly gives you a discount code.
And that oat puff is made by the food giant causing the problem in the first place.
Exactly. You think you're getting objective medical advice from an algorithm, but it's just a closed-loop sales funnel. They become the prescribed cure for the exact inflammation they're causing.
That is incredibly bleak. Which brings us to the end of our deep dive. So what does this all mean for the future of our society as a whole?
If we connect this to the bigger picture, the ultimate ethical crisis here is economic. Fresh, real foods, apples, vegetables, clean meat are steadily increasing in price. They rely on weather, soil, actual farm labor.
Right, you can't just infinitely scale up an apple in a lab.
Exactly. Meanwhile, ultra-processed foods are continually positioned as the cheapest calorie source because they're built on cheap synthetic bases and heavily subsidized crops.
Which risks creating a literal food caste system.
A biological stratification of society. Healthy, eating, consuming, unengineered, real food is becoming an exclusive luxury for the wealthy.
While lower-income demographics are essentially condemned to survive on what the sources bluntly call poison packages.
Poison packages.
Nice.
Hyper-addictive, metabolically destructive foods relentlessly pushed by every algorithm in their environment.
Strips away the cartoon mascots and friendly marketing real quick, doesn't it?
It really does.
Well, we want to thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive today. As you go about the rest of your day, prepping for that meeting or just going for a walk, we want to leave you with one final, lingering, kind of unsettling question to mull over.
Just something to think about.
If the food industry and the tech industry fully merge to monitor our biological data and engineer our emotional cravings down to the exact decibel of a crunch, who is actually deciding what you want for dinner tonight? Are you choosing your food, or is the food choosing you?